Moss Media production. Today I'm chatting with the wonderful Addison Fox, and her latest Harlequin romantic suspense release is The Professional, which is part of her Dangerous in Dallas series. Thank you so much for joining us today, Addison. It's lovely to have you here.
Amanda, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everybody. We're, woohoo, we're giving away also, this makes it a happier Friday. We're giving away a copy of The Professional along with the other October Harlequin series program titles from L. James and Hope White. So please make sure to enter on BookTrib, enter to win after the chat. So before we begin our questions from viewers, can you tell us a little bit more about The Professional and the Dangerous in Dallas series?
I would love to.
Awesome.
So this has actually been a really fun series for me. The Professional is the third of 4 titles in the series. And it's actually, although I've lived in Dallas for quite a while, it's the first time, and I've written quite a few books.
Yeah.
It is the first time that I have set a book in Dallas, or a series. So it's actually been fun to pepper in places that I know, things that I've done, different places around the city that I love. And there is this wonderful part of Dallas called the Design District downtown. And it's old warehouses that have been renovated. And over the last 5 to 6 years has gone through a real renaissance.
Yeah.
And I had this idea of what if these 3 women had a really great bridal boutique, and what if they found something hidden in the floor? And and so my imagination was off, and of course there's some very hot neighbors that live down the street who have a design firm, an architectural firm, and things kind of picked up from there. So first book, Silken Threats, they find these gems in the floor. Tempting Target was the second book, and then the third book, The Professional, things have actually really begun to hit a crescendo. Violet Richardson is the brains behind the operation. She's the one who manages the weddings and the events. And she's had about a year of verbal foreplay with Max, the architect down the lane. And early in the book, Violet is kidnapped, and Max goes after her. And so romance and love and danger ensue.
And treasure in the floor. I love it.
And treasure in the floor.
Excellent synopsis. It reminds me, it's like a little Nancy Drewish, like The Secret in the Attic or like something. I love it. Little mystery hidden.
And it was a fun thing to play with. It's been a fun thing to kind of unravel through the series is, well, what if this, and then what if that? So it's been fun.
Excellent. And we have some viewer questions coming through, which is fantastic. So let's start with a question from Sandra. She wants to know, who are some of your favorite authors and what are some of your favorite books?
Oh, love it. Hi, Sandra. Well, that's a huge list, and it grows all the time. But as most romance readers, I am a huge Nora Roberts fan. I've read almost everything that she's written. I keep a spreadsheet of her books. I love her work. And as a writer, I am continually impressed with her work ethic, and the high quality that she continues to maintain with her work. I love so many of my fellow authors in the romantic suspense line. L. James, Amanda, who you mentioned, I adore her stuff. She's fantastic. Love Marie Fararella, love Amelia Aughton, just really love my fellow authors in the line. They're a lot of fun. We actually just did a continuity together. And so they're a really fun group of women, and fun to work with. So Jane Krentz, Roxanne St. Clair, Cressley Cole. I mean, if they write romance, you can usually find them somewhere on my shelves.
Excellent. And when it comes to the suspense aspect of your books, are there any shows, movies, books out there that inspired you when you were writing the series?
Yeah. Well, I would be a very bad writer if I didn't love Castle.
Yeah, right?
I love, and actually, one of the things that I genuinely love about the show, oh dear.
Can you see me?
Sorry, can you see me?
Yep.
Sorry, I apologize, guys. So I'm a huge Castle fan and love Nathan Fillion. But one of the things I love about the show is the banter between the two of them. The fact that they really do mix kind of the sexy danger of the two of them together with the stories. I'm actually also become a huge fan of Gotham. I realize it's got much more of a paranormal and comic bent, but I think that the mysteries that they put together are really great on the show.
I love that show.
And Ben McKenzie's pretty easy on the eyes, so.
I think all the casting in Gotham is perfect. It's amazing.
Yes, completely perfect. I love it.
Now, Connor has another question that kind of goes along with something that I was wondering. So first of all, I wanted to know, are you a plotter or a pantser? What type of writer are you? And Connor says, how do you keep all your series straight? Do you have a master notebook? So
Yeah, no,
are you
that's a
like,
great question. So I do tend to fall more on the pantser spectrum. I do have to write a synopsis for all my books for my editor. So I have a very, very broad sense of where the story is going to go. But fundamentally, it comes to me as I'm writing it, and that's how I've always been from the very first thing I ever put together. And then in terms of master notes, whenever you talk to writers, people always have kind of their own little quirks or how they do
yeah,
things. For me, I actually just keep two files open. It's really simple. It's 2 Word files. One is my work in progress, and one is just I keep track of my notes.
yeah.
If I name something, if I send them a certain location,
Hmm.
if I say somebody's got a sister and I give her name, whatever it might be, I just keep track. And then when I'm writing a series, I'll tend to keep that document. That document stays consistent. I just keep adding to it. And it's simple. A lot of authors I know write with Scrivener or they write with corkboards
Yeah,
or
right.
plotting sheets. Mine just tends to be two documents open on the desktop.
That is straightforward and to the point. I like it. Some people do the inspiration boards and everything. I feel like I'd have to stick to one thing and I don't know. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I'd just start collaging and being like distracted. So that's what would happen.
I would be very distracted. Yes, I would be very
Exactly.
distracted doing that.
Exactly. So we have another question from Nicole. And she says, you also write a paranormal series. Do you have a preference over which genre you write? I'm not as familiar with.
So, that's a great question too.
Yeah,
So I actually don't really have a preference. I always love the book that I'm working on and the
right.
story that I'm working on. One of the things though, I always say this, I'm a reader first.
Right.
I've been a reader my whole life. I've been a huge romance reader
Hmm.
and I love the romance genre and all
Yeah.
the different subgenres that roll up under it. So for me, it's really about the idea, the characters, and the paranormal series that I did, my premise was they were each a different warrior of the zodiac. And
Awesome.
so it was, for me, it was really all about those characters
Hmm.
and those guys and the story that I wanted to tell about them. And that is equally true. And I have had as much fun writing the series set here in Dallas in modern time
Hmm.
with absolutely nothing paranormal happening
Yeah.
or, nobody's immortal. Nobody can jump around places and pop from spot to spot. But it's just fun. And the creative process is the piece that I find fun
Yeah.
and putting these two people together,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Right. Fantastic. Now, can you remember the day when Harlequin called to tell you that you were going to be published? Or is it like a
Yes.
blur?
Yes, I can. No, I can absolutely remember.
Awesome.
I've been reading Harlequin as long as I've been reading
Hmm.
romance. So more years than I probably want
Right.
to own to. And I have always loved Harlequin books. I've read across the series lines, but was always a romantic suspense reader.
Yeah.
Before that, when it was the Intimate Moments line,
Hmm.
have always read the line, and I love it. And so it was the line that I knew I wanted to target, and it was the audience I wanted to go after. And I had, shared my goals with my agent, and
Right.
and we put some proposals together. And I do still remember the day I got the call, and it was wonderful,
Hmm.
really wonderful.
Excellent. And did it take you like several years, or was it kind of like a quick process?
Yeah, no, so it actually, I took a few tries with Harlequin. I actually had been published by a different publisher prior to joining the house, but had continued trying my hand and,
Yeah.
and putting in different offerings.
Yeah.
And it's been great. My first series with Harlequin was called The House of
Right.
Steel, about a high-end security firm that 4 siblings owned. And it's just been a lot of fun. It truly is a gift and so special to get to write for Harlequin.
Right. See, you guys,
Um,
persistence
like I
pays
said, it's books
off.
I love.
Yeah. What's the best?
Persistence. That's right.
Yes.
Persistence.
Everyone who's out there, who's a writer out there, it pays off, guys.
Do not give up at
Exactly.
all.
Now, your main characters, Violet and Max, they find each other attractive, yet they're irritated by each other. I love relationships like that because they're more realistic to me.
Mhm.
So why do people love that kind of you know, romances that start out with the characters kind of at odds? Why do you think people are so
Yeah.
into that?
I just think there's something so fun and juicy about that
Yeah.
because, to your point, it's it the root cause of it is a tension that neither of them necessarily want to admit to. And
Mhm.
so there's something fun about that. I think there's also something as the watcher of the romance, in my case, the watcher and the writer of it, but there's something fun about that. It's like that they're attracted to each other and they keep resisting, and so that push pull of them trying to deny how they really feel, but they keep putting themselves in each other's orbit anyway.
Mhm.
It's fun. It's
Yeah.
a fun thing to play with, and it's definitely a fun thing to write.
Absolutely. It's the whole will they, won't they? You know they will, but when? It's great.
Just how? How's it going to
Yeah,
happen?
when? Exactly. Do you think that you always put a little bit of yourself into your characters, even if it's a male character, female? Do you think there's always a little bit of you in each character?
I think there's absolutely my worldview.
Yeah.
I have no question.
Mhm.
Anything that I've ever written, the way that I see the world, the way that I want to treat people, the way that the sorts of people that I enjoy being with. I certainly think that that's a component of
Mhm.
of everything that I write.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, I think that there is definitely the characters ultimately become this very real composite in my head. They're
Yeah.
not really I personally don't write based on people that I know, or I certainly don't think that I do that.
Interesting. Yeah.
They are these people that kind of come to me in my mind,
Right.
but like I said, they definitely
Mhm.
have my view of the world and the things that I find to be important, in particular family and friendships
Mhm.
and a core of integrity. Those are things that are important to me as a person.
Yeah. And if you could fan cast Violet and Max, who would you pick? Anybody in
Oh, I love
particular?
that question.
Yeah.
I love that question. So, actually, I mentioned Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
I actually always saw Max is of the heroes.
Yeah.
He's kind of the burly, solid, sexy type. I also always kind of saw him with the physicality of like Russell Crowe in
Yeah.
Gladiator, or kind of Ben McKenzie's a bit more slender, but kind of
Yeah.
that tough, hard
Yeah.
edged. And Violet for
Mhm.
me has just always she's just always been kind of this tall, slender, very put together, um, almost like if you put Olivia Wilde in a suit and kind of laced her up a little bit. I kind of saw her that way.
Yeah.
So
That's perfect. Some writers
yeah,
can't envision an actor or an actress, but I think it's always fun to play around with that. People love things.
it is, and I actually find I can tend to do it better after I've written it than
Yes.
before. Because, like I said, before it happens, there are these composites in my mind, and I
Mhm.
see them that way. Once they're written and once the story's done, then it's kind of like, ooh, I can see that person
Mhm.
as Violet. I can see that
Yeah.
person as Max. It becomes a little more tangible.
Exactly. Exactly. And just in terms of like things you're doing, like what you're working on next, and in like
Mhm.
any events, any conferences that you're attending in the near future, signings, like anything fun happening?
Yeah, actually, I hate to talk about things in the past tense. I actually just finished up a couple of things here in October.
Hey, that's
There
awesome.
is a
Yeah.
wonderful organization here in Dallas called the Richardson Adult Literacy Center,
Oh, awesome.
and took part in an event that they do, and then was also part of a wine tasting, a wine and books event that we had this past Wednesday.
Fabulous.
So then things will quiet down a little bit for the winter. I'm still thinking about if I'm going to go to RT or not in Vegas.
Hmm.
And then definitely going to RWA in the summer. That's always a stop, and I'm very much looking forward to San Diego.
Yeah.
And then I do take part in different events here around Dallas. We've been very fortunate. We've got a wonderful readers community here in Dallas.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of authors here in the market, and so different things will pop up from time to time.
Yeah.
So I do keep my website updated with that kind of stuff. So
Awesome. So, and also another question is, do you have a newsletter that you send stuff out about, and where can we find you on social media so everybody knows
yes.
all the newest?
So I do have a newsletter. You can sign up for it on my website, and I don't spam anybody. It's only when there's news to tell. But you can definitely. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I have a Tumblr page, although I need to get a little more adept at. I love reading. I tend to get lost in Tumblr. I start reading too much, and then I stop posting because I'm so busy tumbling myself forward into other things. So. But yes, I'm in all those places, and I always, always love to connect with readers.
Excellent. You guys heard it here first, so check her out. And the lovely Lisa Ray has a question. She said,
Yes. Hi, Lisa.
Hi Lisa, What first prompted you to start writing within the suspense genre?
So suspense is just fun because it gives you kind of this bigger canvas where things get really dangerous for the characters, and you force them into this close proximity very, very quickly. That just heightens every emotion and heightens every tension.
Exactly.
And then there's also a running joke in the romance author community, which is if you hit a plot snag and you're not quite sure what to do, you can throw a dead body in.
Yeah.
It gives you something to rally around. So,
True.
but I say that more as joke. It's fun because you're constantly upping the stakes for these people. You're
Yeah.
constantly, as you're upping the stakes, you're also making them realize how valuable the other person is to them.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's a wonderful way to show a man and a woman in partnership with each other,
Right.
or a couple, and regardless of sex, to show that couple falling in love together and having to work together to solve problems.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a crash course in relationship and proximity.
That's a great explanation. Can you tell us a little bit more about your House of Steel series? Because I don't know as much about it as your Dangerous in Dallas.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear some more.
Yes. So House of Steel was a really, really fun series to write.
Mm-hmm.
So my premise is the House of Steel is a high-end security firm. They do the jobs that other firms can't
Mm-hmm.
or won't. And it was formed by the 4 Steel siblings, 2 boys, 2 girls, and or 2 men, 2 women now. But when the oldest is 16, their parents are killed in a car accident on their 20th anniversary
Mm-hmm.
trip. And so they ultimately go to live with their grandparents in England.
Okay.
And they split their time between New York and England. So there's a bit of a cosmopolitan edge to it, which was a lot of fun to do. The characters themselves, the moment this idea came to me, and I wish I knew where it came from, but the moment it came to me, I just knew that this was going to be a fun series to write,
Yeah.
and I had fun with every single book.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is mostly set in Paris, the second one in Rome, the third one in, the third one's Rome. London is the second one, and then New York, Manhattan for the fourth one.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's just fun to write the series.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually did a serial that's on Harlequin that is set in Dallas. That is a small offshoot. That's a free read on harlequin.com.
Awesome. And when you were, doing the settings for these books, did you do any research into the cities, or if you'd been there before, did you remember a lot? Or I think it's
Yeah, no, I definitely did. Actually, I'm very fortunate. Have been to all of those cities, and actually used to live in New York.
Yes.
So that one, and New York's actually their home base. So
Yeah.
New York is threaded throughout every single one of the
Mhm.
books. But it was fun. Being able to relive subway scenes and the British Museum and parts of the Italian countryside.
Exactly.
It was fun to go back to all those places and those memories and pull them out. It's funny. You asked me before about my characters and what they look like. I don't think that I write characters that are based on other people, but I very much take settings and
Mhm.
use settings that I've seen before and embed that into my stories.
Yeah, I'm sure the process of just everything flooding back to you from a trip, like when you're writing and describing it all, you think you would never remember everything, and then it just sounds like a nice
And it's like you get to make the visit
walk
again. I
down
mean, it just
memory
comes back
lane.
to
Yeah,
life. It's so fun.
that's excellent.
Yeah.
Kate has an interesting question. Any hidden or
Okay.
weird talents?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, let's see. I'm kind of an open book, so I don't know that I would necessarily say that they're hidden. Oh. Okay, so this is not a talent at all. It's just my weird phobia that nobody in the world seems to have. So I'll share, this will be my big dark secret. I'll share my weird phobia. For whatever reason, I have a fear of repeating circles. So like if you open like the top of a box of straws and you look at all like those holes, that creeps me out horribly. It's this weird phobia that nobody has. I don't think there's a name for it.
Crazy, I love it.
It's totally weird. It's
Okay.
totally weird and strange.
Phobias are like that.
But yeah, I think that it's tied to something in childhood, almost like it looks like a honeycomb, like a bee's nest or something.
Which is kind of like when all the bees are like all over it, clustered.
Yeah,
Okay, well, there's
yeah. So
also phobias of clustered things. I was reading an article about how like that's one of the biggest phobias. People like are so unattracted to cluster images of things. Just keep that in mind.
that,
That could be part of it.
yes. So maybe there actually is a name for my weird phobia that everybody thinks is crazy and
I'm gonna
strange.
look it up and I'm sending it to you after this because I bet you there's a word for it.
Diagnose me, Amanda. Diagnose me.
Terrified of straws. I love it.
Yes, yes, yeah. One by itself is okay, or one in a wrapper is okay, but a box of them, just
Yeah.
no way.
Nope.
No way.
Nope. Clusters, no
Nope.
fun. No, Sophia wants to know, do you have any pets? And I
I
heard,
do. He's
yeah.
actually, he was just kind of, if you keep seeing me look down, I have a beagle named
Hi,
Max,
Max.
and yeah, hi Max. He's being very good. He's being quiet, but it's kind of a cute story. Max is a rescue. I got him back in May.
Mhm.
Very good friend of mine, JD Tyler. She writes as JD Tyler. She also writes as Joe Davis. Her daughter found him out running the neighborhood
Mhm.
and she posted about him on Facebook. They were trying to find his home. And I texted her and I'm like, what are you going to do with the beagle? And
Can he
they
be
hadn't found a
mine?
home for him. So
Oh.
he's in my home now. And I had just turned in the professional. The hero's name is Max. And as I was going over to see him and pick him up, I was like, Max would be a really good name. So he's mine.
Oh, that's so cute. You think he's gonna make an appearance?
I don't know. I don't know. He suddenly gotten camera shy here under the
Like
desk.
I'm
So
freezing.
if I can get him to come over here.
Now we have a fun question from Nicole, which I really like this one. I haven't seen this one in a while. What do you think sets your books apart from the rest in the same kind of genre? If you think that there's
That is
something.
a great question. That's a great question. So, um, I love writing stories about people that come together as a family,
Hmm.
whether it's by blood, whether it's by circumstance, whether it's by choice. I think that there is something deeply, deeply powerful in the families that we have and the families that we make
Yeah.
with others. And as I think about my work and I think about the themes in my work, I realize that that is something that is threaded through absolutely every single thing that I've written.
Right.
And what I realize is that it very much is my view of the world. I am very deeply blessed with the family that I was born into.
Hmm.
I come from a large Italian family on my mother's side and a very large Irish, German, Polish family on my father's
Hmm.
side. And there's a lot of us. And we have very big family
Yeah.
reunions. Um, it just, so family, by blood has always been kind of a very big piece of my life.
Right.
But I've also been deeply, deeply fortunate to meet wonderful people who are my friends and who are like my family. And so it's something that matters to me. And I think that's very much, if you read a book by Addison Fox, I think you're going to walk away from it with a sense of, the people that you share your life with
Yeah.
and what that means.
Family is the center.
Yeah,
Addison Fox gives you the warm and fuzzies.
right.
Do you think that it's harder? This is a question from me. Do you think it's harder to start a new story or finish it?
So my running joke is, so actually it's funny. Most authors will actually tell you the middle.
Mm,
That the middle, like the fun is it's shiny and new, and the end, oh, you're hitting the end, it's
yeah.
great. Like the middle is the part
You're
that's
like,
hard. And
oh,
I actually love writing the middle because that's where all the good stuff
yeah,
happens.
exactly.
And when you start something, it's brand new and it's shiny. I actually hit, and I'm fortunate too. I'm a fairly speedy writer. I've got a pretty good pace when I'm writing. But I hit about the last 50 or 60 pages, and all I want to do is go clean my house, go take walks, go. It's like I'm close to the end. You would think that I would just be so excited to get through the end. And I don't know if I've just become too attached to these characters to want to let them go. I don't know what it is, but for me, I would say the last 50, 60 pages tend to be the ones that it's like,
I think
let
I'd
me go
be
do
the
something
same
else for a
way.
while.
I think I would. I think the middle would be the best. It's the meat,
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
creamy nougat center.
exactly. That's like I said, that's when all the good stuff
Yeah,
happens.
exactly. Now we have another random question from Connor. Zombies or aliens? You gotta have that.
Oh, that's a good one. So, Connor, for me, it's aliens all the way.
Ew.
I actually love anything set in space. I am
Cool.
anxiously awaiting the new Star Wars movie.
Nice.
Cannot wait, cannot wait. And I've got to be honest, the whole zombie thing kind of freaks me out and grosses me out.
Yeah.
So I tend to absolutely gravitate to anything alien related. I'm totally in for, but zombies, I usually shy away from those things.
There's been a lot of zombies on TV lately. It's a little overkill. I do like my Walking Dead, but I'm so excited for X-Files coming up, the new X-Files. So
Absolutely.
yes. So we have a couple more questions from people. Sandra wants to know, oh, actually, let's go to this next one. Carly, do you have a list of names you go through to name your characters? Do you have names on?
I love that question. So the answer is yes and no. So I actually do have a file that I keep. If I just think of names that I like, I just keep track of them.
Yeah.
And I also make a point to keep track of the names that I've already used because even though you think you're going to remember, and I can remember all the books that I've written, but it's just nice to make sure I've got it all in one place. But I do tend to, if I hear something that I really like, and it grabs my attention, it goes in the name file, I write it down. I love names that are new or different. I also like names that are a little open-ended from a gender perspective.
Yeah.
Not always, but I do like Cameron for a girl, or
Right.
just these names that have become increasingly popular that I think are, or Reese.
Yeah.
But it was funny. I was about a year and a half ago, I was at my goddaughter's piano recital, and they had done a little program for the kids. And I don't know, there were probably like 14 different kids that had performances, and some of their names were so great. I was like, oh, I like this one and this one and this one. I got to write these down. So,
a lot of authors use baby name books, which is interesting.
Absolutely. I'll go on and look at that. I'll go on and look at what the etymology of the name is, where it comes from, if it fits with the last name that I thought of to go with it. So
gender neutral it's always a good way to go.
Yes.
I love it. Now, when you're writing, can you read on the side? Can you like be reading a Nora Roberts book, or do you find that you need to take a break? Or because I know some people say like I don't want like a certain book's like tone to influence my writing, or like the voice.
Yeah,
So
no, I am such a nasty, grumpy person if I don't read. It would it would really be sad to me if I just didn't read.
Right.
And I basically read every day. And for me, and maybe it's because I love reading so much. I personally, well, whether you love it or not, I think most authors love to read, but for whatever reason, the two acts really are very separate in my mind. There's the things that I'm reading and the things that I enjoy, and then there's whatever project I'm working on. I do work on one project at a time, other than like if edits come in and I need to take care of something, but I'm not actively in the writing process of fresh story ideas on multiple things.
Right.
And it tends to be okay.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I'm very grumpy if I have a few days where I don't get to read. So
I know, I feel like I'm not doing enough if I'm not reading something new. And it's a nice departure when you're writing. It's an escape. Yes. Any way you look at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Sophia wants to know, have you ever met any of the models on your book covers?
Oh, Sophia, I wish. No, I have not. I have been at RT where they've had different industry cover models there, who are always very gracious, and very kind. I was part of an event yes, Max. I was part of an event where, they walked you up like on a stage, and so you got to touch their very impressive biceps as they, escorted you up the stage. But no, I have not had the good fortune to meet any of my cover models personally.
Maybe one day you'll have a little phone call.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. So we have a fun rapid fire set of questions that I wanted to just do for an ending. It's always fun.
All right.
So, diamonds or sapphires?
Oh,
I know.
diamonds. Although that's really like asking people to pick a favorite kid.
I know. You're like, I want them both.
That's a hard one.
Both, please. Fall or spring?
Fall.
Cocktails or wine? I think I know the answer.
Wine. Oh, I'm a big wine fan. Yes. Wine.
Yes, me too. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay.
Well, I say that. Coffee, if I have to pick between the two. But I start my day with coffee, and then typically midday I switch over to tea.
Yep.
So I do love them both.
Cats or
They're
dogs?
classics for a reason, Amanda. They're classics for a
I
reason.
know. Seriously. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Even
Yeah.
if you thought
And
differently,
beagles in
you
particular.
can't
And
say
he's sitting here
anything.
next to me again,
I
so
know.
I would be remiss
Be
if I said
extremely
cats.
insulted. Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. People think I'm
Yay.
weird when I say I don't really
No,
enjoy
no.
chocolate.
Vanilla lovers unite.
Yes. Yes. Tropical destination or a cabin getaway in the woods?
A cabin in the woods as long as there were no zombies.
I know. When I was writing these questions, I was like, that's a little creepy. Like, I don't mean cabin in the woods like the movie when they all are murdered.
Okay.
No, like nice with butterflies and like, idyllic sunsets. Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes,
I
yes.
love your answers. I agree with many of them, especially vanilla.
Thank you.
Well, we came to the end of our questions, and it's been fantastic talking with you today. So much fun. And I just want to remind everybody to stop by BookTrib after the chat and enter to win The Professional by Addison Fox. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who joined in.
Thank you guys for stopping
Have a good
in.
one.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.